So formally from me, Dion, welcome. I'll just do a quick introduction to those that don't really know me. I'm Dion. Introductions are over. In the top corner, I started Action Factory a couple of years ago. Where we're now, probably about, I think it's about 10, 12 years ago. Been doing this since then. Gotta love it. Addicted to it. It's who I am. It's what I do. I eat, sleep, breathe this stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's just my life. And I'm enjoying every second. I'm a young 57. Everybody say yes, very young, very young. Say go yes, very young, very young. 57, very young, yes, very young. Thank you, thank you. I'm married to a gorgeous woman, married for 36 years already. 3 gorgeous children, 1 grandchild already. So just living a nice life and loving every moment of it. Surrounded by beautiful people, love my students, love what I do, love master coaches, love trainers. So I'm going to introduce Leslie to you guys. She's going to be training you on this course in and out as well. She's been involved in Action Factory for quite some time as a trainer. She's been a coach for I think 8 years or something. She's going to be involved. Patrick's going to, you're going to be here most of the time, Patrick? We might even throw him in the deep end and let him teach you something as well. It's always good to hear from different perspectives. Lorraine will also probably come in some of the evenings, another trainer, and she might even also do a session or 2. So you guys are going to have quite a nice variety on this course with trainers. Right, so that's me. Leslie, do you want to just say a hello there quickly?
Yeah, just hi everybody, and welcome to the new faces. I love this 9-day. It's my favorite trainings of all. Yeah, exciting journey. Looking forward to it.
A nice journey. All right, so let's just chat generally for those that hasn't been on our training. What is these courses? What can you expect? How are we going to train? Just to give you guys a little bit of idea. So the course is made up of different segments. So there's what we call a base or a fundamental foundation segment. That's just a lot of theory. That's what we're going to start with. And that's just to build a proper foundation for you guys of understanding how does the brain work, some of the functionalities, differences between the conscious and the subconscious brain. How did the two relate to each other? What happens if they're not synchronized? That is the type of knowledge we're going to give you. That's to start off with, to give you a good, solid foundation. Then we're going to move into some of the skills, how to build rapport, how to communicate with people, a couple of trick skills that you would need as a good coach, because we want you to be an effective coach. So let's get into the training. What do you say? You guys ready to learn? All right, let me explain the structure and how we're going to teach you guys. First thing you need to understand, and I'm going to use this course, I'm going to compare it to someone going on an Excel course. If you use Excel, you know what Excel is, guys, that little funny green screen thingy on your computer. It's a Microsoft thingy. If you use Excel and you want to improve your skills and your capability using Excel, then you measure what you can do, and then you go find a course that teaches you the next level of using Excel. At the end of the course, you can get measured very clearly, and then you pass or you fail, but you've now got new knowledge. That is called a process-driven learning experience. So this is where I am. This is step by step, very precisely set out in academic style what I need to learn. And all I need to do is replicate it. This is not such a course at all. This is not a course where the information you get, you can merely replicate. There's more to it. NLP and coaching is a skill, it's an art. It's not a science. It's not a field of study. It's not an academic approach. This is what I call an options approach. So the way we're going to teach you guys is going to be difficult. What we're going to do is we're not going to spoon feed you with the perfect information in the perfect sequence. Because if I spoon feed you the perfect information in the perfect sequence, all the brain does, because the human brain naturally is actually quite lazy. All the brain does, it merely replicates what I told you, and it replicates the way that you've been taught. Now that might work for some of your clients, but it's not going to work for all of the clients, because not everybody is the same. We're all different. We're all unique. A really good coach and an NLP practitioner has got the ability to adapt and adjust in the environment with each and every client they see. So the way we're going to teach you guys is an options-driven approach. So a huge amount of information is going to, let's say, thrown your way. We're going to bombard you with a variety of different bits of knowledge, which is going to be scattered all over the course. Sometimes before a technique, sometimes during a technique, sometimes after a technique, sometimes on the first day, sometimes on the last day. It's scattered. You as a coach need the capability to be able to comprehend, to be able to apply logic, to be able to connect the dots and grasp the concept. Because if you can do that, then you've got acquired, usable understanding, not information. The world's filled with information. If you wanted information about coaching or NLP, go buy a book, read it, and you've got the information. Information on itself is absolutely useless. Applicable knowledge has got power. But knowledge is only applicable if you make it your own. If you take it in, you can comprehend it, connect the dots, merge it into your own skill set, and then produce from there. Does it make sense, guys? So are you going to have questions? Oh, absolutely. Are we going to always answer your questions? No. We might sometimes just ignore you. No, we won't ignore you. We'll answer the questions, but we won't necessarily give you the answer you're looking for. We might answer the question with a question. Is that okay? Everybody on board with that one? You guys ready for that challenge? Who's going, ay, what did I get myself into here? It's still early. Can I get out? Can I get out? Can I go? Can I go? It's not that bad. It's going to be fun. All right. The benefit you guys have got is I started training this course. I think the first one I ran was in 2009 or something ridiculous. And I've been training it nonstop since then. Every single month I've trained this course is run. Sometimes I've run more than one a month. Done it a few times. Leslie's done it quite a few times. Quite a few. Lorraine is going to come in. He's done it a few times. Patrick's going to help. He's done it a few times. We kind of know by now what we do. And you're in safe hands. Our job is to get the knowledge across. Your job is to show up, be awake, and leave the rest to us. Is that okay? My job is to teach, so we'll teach. Your job is to learn, so you just learn. Isn't that lekker? Imagine you went to school and teacher said, don't worry, just show up, stay awake. I'll teach you. Wouldn't that be awesome? That's what teachers should do, in my opinion. All right, let's talk about the brain. Let's talk about one of the most interesting concepts about the brain. And I call this illusion of control. So I want to start off and just, create a bit of an understanding about who we are as humans, how we function, and why we sometimes experience trials, tribulations, and struggles in life. Because one thing about this type of industry, any type of personal development industry, is a lot of people are extremely positive when they're on camera or when they're in a training room or in a coaching session. The guys all come across hyped and positive and excited and lovely, and in the background they're alcoholics and they bad, wife beaters or manic depressives or something, whatever the case may be. So we need to start to realize that there needs to be some form of transparency and honesty on these platforms. And one of the things we need to be honest about is we don't all feel great all of the time. I've never met a human that is happy, feeling fantastic, highly energized, and an extremely happy state all of the time. I do think if I meet someone like that, it might be in a loony bin. I think a person like that could possibly, be a little bit dysfunctional. In fact, if someone is happy all of the time, when do they sleep if you're happy and excited all of the time? Oh, I'm sleeping. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm sleeping. You can't sleep. You can't rest if you're like that. So as humans, we need to go through different states. All of us go through different states. We all experience moments of great joy and happiness. We all experience sad moments, even depressed moments. That in itself is part of who we are as humans. What is important to realize is, where do you spend the most time? That's where the question lies. So I've got a very simplistic concept that I believe in. I personally believe I cannot truly appreciate the good moments of life if I don't occasionally experience the bad ones. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody. How do you really know if you're happy unless you've been sad? How do you know? What do you measure it with? How do you compare it? So for me as a human, I don't fear or have a negative, anxious attitude towards my own states when I go into a bit of a negative state. I see it as normal, but I don't spend a lot of time there. And I don't allow it to control me and take over my life. Therein lies the difference. I take control of who I am. And as humans, if we understand how, we can actually control our states. So the first thing we need to understand, guys, is we're not magicians. Just because we're coaches and we've been in the industry a long time, doesn't mean we've got a magic wand. It doesn't mean that we are in this constant hyped up state. We also have states that go up and go down. It's normal. Your clients will have the same, as do you. The question is, where do you hover? Which state is your default state? If you're in a depressed state most of the time, that's when you get diagnosed as depressed. That's when people say you're now manic depressive. Why are you manic depressive? Because you're there most of the time. Now, here's a quick secret. Did you know that even a manic depressive have happy moments? I mean, how disappointing. One would expect them to be depressed all of the time. No, they also have happy moments, but they're few and they're far between. So what do we do as coaches to a certain extent? We take people on a journey where they can experience above, call it the average line, a good state, a bliss state, a pleasing state, a congruent state most of the time. Does that make sense? Now, one of the concepts that I really want you to get this. It's important to get this. We as humans, when we buy something, when we acquire a piece of technology, it comes with a user manual. If I go and buy my wife a new washing machine, what a nice husband, buy my wife a new one. If I go buy a new washing machine, what's one of the first things we're going to do? We're going to unpack it, we're going to install it, and then we're going to take out the user manual, because we want to read how to use it effectively and to its best. Yeah? If you buy a new car, what do? Well, you want to try and figure out how all these gadgets work. So you grab the manual. I know some of you guys don't read the manuals. You expect someone else to read the manual and then explain to you how it works. But someone has to read the manual to understand how this thing works, right? We didn't come with a user manual. Humans are the most complex pieces of machinery, equipment, things, whatever you want to call it, on this planet. And we did not come with a user's manual. In fact, no one has printed one yet. So the problem we have with that is we've got to figure this stuff out ourselves. And some people are brilliant at figuring it out quickly. Some people just take it a little bit longer. Some people figure it out for one part of their lives, And then the next season comes, and the stuff we figured out for the previous season doesn't apply in this season, and now we're screwed, and we're going to start from scratch again. But here's the principle behind it. That's normal. What we often do is we judge people that struggle figuring it out. No, they're not broken. They're just different. That's all it is. And it's okay to be on a journey of figuring it out. Because here's another last secret. One of many. No human has ever figured it out 100%. If you do figure it out 100%, please call me. I'll come and worship at your feet, because then clearly you are absolutely supernatural. So nobody has all the answers. We don't have all the answers. No, we don't. We've got some techniques to help people find the answers. So as a coach or as an NLP practitioner, do you believe that you are so sorted that you can tell other people how to live their lives? So rule number one, when we coach people, when we take people through NLP processes, we don't tell them what to do. My life, I believe I've got my life sort of sorted, but not everything. But if I want to tell you how to live your life, then I must have some kind of belief in my head that I know more about your life than what you do, and I can live your life better than you. Which means I must have one massive ego. There's something seriously wrong with my ego needs to be enormous for me to believe that. So one of the golden rules of coaching is we don't tell people what to do. We don't tell people what to do. That's a massive misconception a lot of people have with coaching. So let's put that in the grave right now. What we're going to teach you guys is a process of, or a string of different techniques and skills that allows your client to come up with their own solution, to apply that solution in their lives, and then reap the rewards. Because they have the solution. When they come and see you with a problem, they already have the solution. Let's rock some worlds here quickly. Did you know that your brain can only identify a problem if it already knows the solution? That's the only way the human brain can identify that there is a problem. Let me give you a practical example quickly. If you get into my car, well, I don't drive a car, I drive a bakkie, but either way. If you get into my bakkie and my windscreen is cracked, how will you know my windscreen is cracked? Let me give you the answer. The only way your brain can recognize the crack is by knowing what the windscreen looks like without a crack. The only way the human brain knows it's experiencing depression is by knowing what a heightened happy state feels like. The only way the human brain knows it's experiencing an anxious moment is by knowing what a calm moment feels like. The only way the human brain knows it's in a stuck state is by knowing what it feels like by being in a fruitful, effective, productive state. The only way you know you're not succeeding is by knowing what success feels like. You only know you have a problem if your brain knows the flip side of it, which is the solution. Most of us believe that we should intellectually know what the solution is. The solution very often lies on a subconscious level. It's not something we logically think about. Nobody gets into the bakkie and says, oh, look, I know what that windscreen should look like. This clearly is not the way it should look like. Therefore, this must be a crack. I've never heard anybody say anything like that. If you have, please send them my number. They need help. Nobody talks like that. We look and we say it's crack. We identify. The brain's lazy. It goes quick. It wants to get it over with. So what happens in our lives is exactly the same thing. We experience something quickly. We see the problem. We see the depression. We see the anxiety. We see the stress. We see the negative thought. We see the stuck state. We see the lack of motivation. We see the procrastination. We feel the laziness. We have all these experiences. We have the doubts. There's little voices inside there. All of these things are happening. We identify them very quickly. But the flip side of it is in your brain. So what are we going to teach you? Imagine I gave you nice specialized spoons that you can take and stick into your client's brain and then catch the solution and bring it to the surface. Would that be cool? That's exactly what we're going to teach you guys. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? How many times in your life have you made a decision and you do the opposite? How many times on a day? Let's think about it quickly, because you know what? We as humans, we're smart beings, eh? We're smart. We've put men on the moon. We've created cell phones, computers. We can fly around the world. We've got trains that are fast. You know, we can do medical stuff. Take a heart out of this body and put it into that body. I mean, how crazy is that? I mean, we're smart, aren't we? Well, we know what to put in our mouths, what's healthy, but we don't always. Has anybody here eaten anything that's unhealthy? McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, come on now, deep fried oily chips, extra fat on the steak, a little bit of too much water. Guys, intellectually, we know what to do with our health. We know we should go for walks. We know we should go for jogs. We know we should go for a cycle. We know we should exercise. We know we should do all the things. Is there anybody in this room that exercises exactly every single day as they should? As you know, intellectually, you should actually. Anybody? Anybody? Oh my goodness. I don't know where these people are. In 10 years, I've never met one. We know what to do, but we don't. We know what to do with our money. We know what to do with our money. We know we shouldn't buy money. That's called a credit card or loans. It's expensive. We know we should save some of it. We know we shouldn't spend it on stuff we don't need. Like that extra pair of shoes, Danny. That extra makeup brush. You've already got 17 of those makeup brushes on your counter. Why do you need another one? How many hair brushes can one person? How many shoes, ladies, do you own? Be honest. Don't even know. So you guys don't even know. We spend money on stuff we don't need. Intellectually, we know what we should be doing with our money. We know we should be investing our money. We know we should make our money grow for us. We know all of these things. But yet we do things we should not. Let's talk about relationships. Who's in a relationship at the moment? Either married or in some form of a fixed relationship with a partner. I'm not talking about a pet dog. I'm talking about another human being. Or who has been. Are they in a relationship at the moment or you've been in one before? So most of us are either in a relationship or we've been in one quite recently, right? So I've been married 36 years. Let me just explain something quickly about relationships. Who of you guys in your relationship sometimes said something to your partner and as those words came out of your mouth, you just knew, this is wrong. And yet you continued saying it. Oh, but here's the worst part of it all.
Yes, babe.
A minute or two after you said that wrong thing and you felt bad about it, inside of that argument, you still justified it. I'm not going to lose this fight. I'm going to win this one. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I'm going to show you. And whilst you're doing it, you know, oh man, I'm so stupid. Really? Am I doing this? Did I just say that? Did I just do that? Can it be true? Is it possible? Ach nee, Serious? Or is that just me and Patrick? Come on. Come on, show me your hands if you're guilty, if you know what I'm talking about. All right, let's go to career. Let's talk about career decisions, job, work-related decisions. I mean, we know, especially if we're employed by a, organization like a big green machine or something, we don't know exactly how much energy and effort we should put in. We know we should be time conscious. We know what we should be doing, isn't it? Maybe you run your own business, you're an entrepreneur. We know what we should be doing, don't we? How many of you actually do what you know you should be doing? I know there's days you do more, I know it, but who's ever came up with a reason not to do something today that you know you should have, and you hid behind a ridiculously cock excuse? Oh yes. All right. Here's the principle. Here's the principle we need to understand. You ready for a shocker? Your conscious brain only makes approximately 5% of all your decisions. The subconscious brain makes about 95% of your decisions. Your subconscious brain is approximately the size of the tip of your little pinky. That's about the size it is. First, some people up until about the second link, about that size, half a pinky roughly. It's the size of your conscious brain. The part of your brain that your parents told you is the one you must use the most. Think, focus, be disciplined. It's your conscious brain. It's that size. Does anybody like that size? Well, for some stuff, yes, maybe. But how big is your brain? Size of 2 fists. So let me ask you this question. How is it then possible that we as Westerners have decided that that small part of the brain is the smart one? I mean, like, hello? Seriously? Seriously? The secret is very simplistic. Your subconscious brain makes more decisions than what your conscious brain does. Your subconscious brain does not speak the same language even as your conscious brain does. It speaks a completely different language. In fact, there is no language in the subconscious. A lot of people believe the subconscious is the home of language. No, it's not. It merely has concept. It's one of the reasons why your subconscious brain cannot take a negative instruction. Subconscious brain cannot negate. So if I tell you now, Walida, I know you work for a bank that's a big green bank. I don't want you to think about a brand name bank that has got a lot of blue in its brand. Don't think about that bank right now. Now, every one of you guys thought about that bank. But I told you not to. How is it possible? Not only did you think about the brand, you saw the sign and you probably saw the slogan that comes with it. I mean, how rude. You probably saw the last place you even saw that sign. How incredible is that? How did that happen? Well, quite simple. Because conscious language that we use as humans is not the same language that the subconscious brain uses. The subconscious brain uses concept. So when I speak, what the subconscious did is it just grabbed the concept. The detailed instruction, don't think about the big blue bank. It didn't comprehend that, didn't even understand it. It just heard Big Blue Bank and it went there. It just experienced it. That's why when you're on that very strict diet of fruit and nuts, and some vindictive person puts this beautiful chocolate cake in front of you, your conscious brain just goes, lack of fun, emotions driven, yeah. There's no logic. Conscious brain says, don't eat this. Subconscious brain goes, love it. I don't care. When you walk into that shop, that same thing drives you. So here's the concept you need to understand. Subconsciously, you make a lot of decisions, but here's the key. A lot of those decisions are driven by the emotional state you are in at that moment. Now, can a chocolate cake influence your emotional state just by looking at it? Oh yeah. Well, let's reframe. Pair of shoes. Can it influence your emotional state just by looking at it? Absolutely. Absolutely. And the moment it influences your emotional state, your subconscious brain starts making different decisions. Now, here's where we need to understand. Throughout your day, millions of decisions are being made on a subconscious level. Many of them you don't even think of, you're not even aware of. They happen automatically. And they happen automatically through what we call triggers. Little triggers that shifts your emotional state, alters your emotional state you're in, and shifts the way you make those split quick decisions. When you're at work, you're in a good state, it's a good day. Woke up nice, fresh, took a good shower, maybe had a quick bowl of Kellogg's before you went to work. Your day just started off well. And then someone says that statement in the workplace, and all of a sudden the bitch comes out. Like your state shifts, your response shifts, your behavior shifts, your internal dialogue shifts, the way you make decisions shifts, the way you respond shifts, the way you behave shifts, the way you feel shifts during and after. Because now you blame yourself. I shouldn't have done that. I'm so terrible. I've got no self-control whatsoever. So let me ask you this question. Who's in control of your mind? He says, humans, we got two choices. You can either take control of it yourself, or you can allow all those little external triggers to take control of it. Now, if you allow all those little external triggers to take control of it, eventually they become big triggers. And eventually you lose complete control of who you are. And you end up in a life that you despise, that you hate, makes you depressed, sad, anxious, unhappy. The reason our industry exists is specifically because of that reason. Because millions of people are not in control of their own lives. They are being controlled by external triggers. We don't like to think about it logically. We don't like to admit it. But the reality is that happens to most people. They are not in control of their lives. At the moment, we're living in an era we're in the information era. The wonderful time of the availability of information. But we also got an information overload. And we're at a stage now where if you speak to people, because they've read a book about something, they believe they know about it, or they know it. The worst is, I'm going to say this word, is a second-year law student that's read a lot of legal books and sat in a couple of classrooms about law, and we try and have a logic conversation with, who's met one? Come on, you know what I'm talking about. You must know. Especially if you're working at that big green bank, then there's plenty of them running around. You know what I'm talking about. Now, here's the problem. They've read something in the book. They've read a number of books. They've been told a couple of things by a professor or by a lecturer or whatever. Here's the problem with information. Because we heard it, because it made logic sense, because we could comprehend and understand it logically, we believe we now know it. We don't. We know about it. We know about it. 95% of people know about their jobs, know about their health, know about the relationships, know about a lot of things in life, but they don't actually know. Knowing means automated, aligned response. Knowing means it's inside of you. It's part of you. Does that make sense, guys? We don't have a user manual for the mind. We don't have a user manual for the body. We don't have a user manual for the synchronicity between the mind and the body. We don't know all. We know partly. Knowing about creates a form of arrogance. It increases the ego and brings an imbalance in the way the brain thinks. Knowing about puts the brain in an automated, fast state of judgmental response and measuring. This is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong, this must, this should not, this can, this cannot. So it puts the brain functionality into very clear, hard, black and white decision-making processes. We do it in our relationships. Sometimes measure it black and white. We measure what we do for a living, black and white. How many hours? What are the benefits? Salary? Who do I report to? What's my career path look like? Good job, take it. Does it bring me joy? Does it develop me? Does it allow my creative juices to flow? Is it synchronized with my true value system? Will this really develop me as a human being? Will this add value to the world? Will it leave a wonderful... No, none of that, man. How much money? Give me the salary first, please. Let me look at the salary, that I'll tell you if I want the job or not. Tick boxes of clear definites. The clear logic definites are not there, we struggle to make decisions. The reason we struggle to make those decisions is because we don't know. We don't know the inner truths anymore. So we go through life with knowledge or information. And based on the information, we make decisions, judgment calls, choices. We act accordingly. And then we find ourselves in unhappy spaces and we don't know how. It's because we don't know. We've ignored two components of what we are, the subconscious and the emotions. Go into a corporate environment and be emotional. What are they going to say to you? Suppress your emotions. Am I right? Think logic. Well, that's why we state this. That's the main reason that one of the highest selling products in the world are antidepressants and sleeping tablets. because we're ignoring the two main driving factors in our lives: our emotional state and our subconscious. Those are actually the two things that control the outcomes of who we are. It's not the other way around. Can we direct them? Can we take control of them? If we know how to, yes, we can. There are ways. We can. Can we control it completely? No. Can we control it most of the time? Yes. So why aren't we? Because the world we live in is not structured that way. Guys, think about this quickly. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I want to throw a couple of curveballs, because I want you really to realize one thing about coaching. To me, if someone asks me what I do for a living, I tell them I make people think differently. That's probably, to me, one of the greatest secrets in my career and what I do for a living and what life is about. Because if the way we've been thinking the last 50 or 100 years has actually worked, we would not have had wars. We would not have had countries in poverty. We would not have had corrupt politicians. We would not have had more empty homes around the world and homeless people. We would not have had millions of people that are wiping out rainforests all around the world. We would not have had these issues. Things would have looked different. So I wanted to teach people to think differently and think with a different part of the brain. Take control of the emotional states. Utilize it to your benefit. Learn to identify the different emotional states. How do they serve me? Which states serve me? Which states don't serve me? When I'm in a state that doesn't serve me, how do I get out of it into a state that serves me? Is that possible? Yes, it is. Your state can shift in a second. A second. Yep. You've walked into a room, or you've been in a room, you've been down, someone walks in, they say one sentence, you go, state shifts immediately. Your emotional states can shift quickly. So I'll tell you a quick story about, someone told me the story years ago, and I still remember it. It was so beautiful. So little Johnny goes to his mommy and he says, "Mommy, what is NLP and coaching all about?" So his mommy says, I'll tell you in a moment. Go ask Grandpa, how is his arthritis? Little Johnny goes to his grandpa and says, "Grandpa, how's your arthritis?" And then Grandpa, "Oh, Johnny, it's so sore. Look at my hands. I'm in so much pain. It's so miserable getting older and this arthritis. I've got to watch what I eat. I can't do what I want to and eat the nice food. It's so miserable, horrible." And clearly Grandpa goes into a very, very negative state. And Johnny's done, he's done what his mommy's told him. And he goes back to his mommy and says, Mommy, okay, I asked Grandpa. Now tell me, what is NLP and coaching?" So Mommy says, "I'll tell you now, little Johnny. Did you ask Grandpa about his arthritis?" "Yes, Mommy." "Okay. What did he say?" "Oh, Mommy, he just moaned for another 20 minutes. "Okay. Go ask Grandpa, what's the funniest thing you've ever done?" So little Johnny runs to the Grandpa and says, "Grandpa, what's the funniest thing I've ever done?" And Grandpa's like, "Oh, little Johnny, and he starts telling stories about little things and twerky things about little Johnny. And he's sitting there and he's laughing. And little Johnny runs back to Mommy and says, Mommy, what is NLP and coaching?" He says, "Johnny, did you ask Grandpa about it?" "Yes." "What was Grandpa's response?" He was just laughing the whole time. That was NLP and coaching. It is taking someone that's in a certain emotional state, that's got certain specific thought patterns that is circulating in their brain, shifting it to a different emotional state with a new, fresh thought pattern in the brain. Because if we can create that, the types of decisions we make will be different. When I'm in a bad state, I make bad decisions. When I'm in a good state, I make good decisions. Every single decision I make is state dependent. If we shift states, if we change the way people have internal dialogue and the way they make decisions, if we teach people how to sometimes behave differently, if we teach people how to experience the same thing differently and get different feedback into the brain, we bring about shifts, internal shifts, permanent shifts inside of the person. And people literally go from being this person to another person in a very short time frame. We can actually recreate who we are if we start applying the correct skills and tools. If we make the right choices, we can predetermine who we want to be a year, 2 years, or even 5 years down the line. I want that to sink in. If you understand how to take control of your emotional state and your subconscious, the types of decisions you're going to make will change. The type of behaviors you're going to act out will change. The type of experiences you're going to have will change. The type of learning and understanding you experience in this life will change. Your belief system, your value system, everything shifts. The person you are today is not cast in stone. You are a living being, which means you're capable of change, adaptation, change. How cool is that? Think about this quickly. Who would you like to be 5 years from now? Wouldn't it be cool to be able to shift that, to change that? Guys, if you met me in my early 40s, you would not like me at all. I was an egotistical, arrogant bastard. I didn't even like me. I was a management consultant. I was involved in business rescue. Man, I was the man. I was the boy on the block. I was that guy that could take your business and make you a millionaire. I was that guy, and I knew it. And I flashed it. I was egotistical, arrogant. I had no mercy. I would go into companies. If you do business rescue, one of the first things you do is restructure. What's another nice word or a real word for restructuring? It means firing a lot of people. I went in there cold-blooded, no mercy, just got in there. Why? Oh, because I'm good at what I do and I make money and people love me for it. And then I woke up one day and I realized who I am. And I went, I don't like this at all. At all. If this is the legacy I'm going to leave, I'm in trouble. I need to recreate this monster. Do you like who you are at the moment? Are you completely satisfied with who you are? If you look at your journey over the next year, over the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 20 years, the next 50 years, we're probably going to grow old. We're going to, we're at an age now, some of us, we're going to grow to 137, they claim. What does your next 100 years of your life look like? Are you in control of it? Is it going in the direction that you actually like and that you're happy with? Or does it need a reinvention? Now, let me ask you this question, because I know what your answer was. It needs a reinvention, right? It needs a tweak. It needs a shift. I'm not saying go from being a sexy woman to being a hard stuff man. I'm not talking about that kind of change, you know? I'm talking about the internal emotional control of your subconscious and all of that stuff. So let me just ask a simplistic question. Who of you here, if you could alter, shift, change, improve, better, create a different mindset of more love, more joy, more health, more wealth, you know, who would do it? Can I just see hands? If you would. Okay. Now here's the secret I want you guys to understand quickly, please. And please forgive me for saying this. The fact that you believe you want that means what you have at the moment, you're not completely happy with. If you were happy with what you had at the moment, you would not desire something else. Well, now I'm somewhat depressed. I know, man. Here's the thing. Life is a journey. It is an experience of continuous change, shifts alterations. Everybody goes through it. The question is, how do you handle it? How do you cope with it? How do you adjust to it? How do you adapt to it? I want to tell you a quick story. I want to tell you my butterfly story. So here's this little worm or little caterpillar. Lives happily on a leaf. Wakes up in the morning, says, how's it to the other caterpillars? Wave. Wave, everybody wave at the other caterpillars. Wave. Hello caterpillars, hello caterpillars. Every morning it's happy when it wakes up because it knows the day is going to be glorious. I mean, think about it. If it's a female caterpillar, it's got 38 legs. Just think about the shoes. Think about that shoe. Think about what that shoe cupboard looks like. It's got 38 legs. I mean, that's like serious shoe shopping. And you can wear, 19 different pairs every single day. I mean, that must be, you can wear the high heels at the back and the flat soles at the front, walking downhill all of the time. What a crazy existence. And all you do is chow leaves the whole day. And then chow leaves. It's like, how's it to the other caterpillars wearing your fancy shoes? 38 shoes, 19 pairs, crazy life. Chowing. And then one day, yellow stuff comes out of your butt. Funny yellow sticky stuff. And you start spinning around in circles. And you get trapped in the sticky stuff. It's called a cocoon. You blink your eyes, you're in darkness. You're completely trapped. You don't know what's going on. Everything's gone mushy. Because inside the cocoon, that poor caterpillar's body just goes all mushy, goes liquid. Where did the eyes go? No, you can't see nothing. Gone. Oh, my hands are gone. Everything's liquid. Now, at some moment, a little crack of light appears and it sort of forces itself towards that light and pushes hard and pushes out on the other side. And it looks down, and the first thing it notices, where's my legs? Because now it's a butterfly. It doesn't have that many legs anymore. And you know what it does? Firstly, it's usually angry because it doesn't have the legs it used to have. Because the legs were what it used to trust on to carry it around. You see, my life has been built on my 38 legs. Now it's gone. As humans, we have the same problem. That behaviors, knowledge, wisdom, information, behaviors, responses, way of carrying yourself that served you in the past does not necessarily serve you in your future. Because as humans, we go through a metamorphosis every 7 years of our lives. Every 7 years of our lives, we go into a cocoon. We change. And we come out the other side and we're different to what we were before we went in. Think about your life from birth to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21, 21 to 28, 28 to 35, 35 to 42. I'm losing most of you guys now. 42, 49, 49, 56, 56. Old. Just because that what served you yesterday is not serving you today, hear me on this one, does not mean it has to. Because a butterfly's got different skills, capabilities, talents, and gifts than what a caterpillar does. It comes from the same source. It's just gone through a change. People that are struggling with who they are sometimes have gone through a change. That whom they used to be doesn't serve them anymore. It does not mean they are broken. They merely have certain functionalities, talents, and gifts now that they haven't realized. If that butterfly believes it's a caterpillar, it is going to try and act like a caterpillar. It's going to try and communicate with the old and other caterpillars. And suddenly it's going to notice I can't communicate anymore. That which I'm saying, nobody's hearing anymore. Who's had that? All of a sudden people just don't hear me. I don't know what's going on. The way that which carried you, maybe your career, maybe your personality, is not there anymore. You don't have 38 legs anymore. You now need to use something else, which is wings. And here's the thing, the moment you grasp that concept, you can fly and you can do things in your life you've never dreamed of before. The caterpillar didn't even comprehend the ability of flight. The butterfly is capable, but the butterfly will only fly if it takes a little bit of risks, if it applies courage, if it spreads the wings, allow the wind to come and lift it off the branch and start flying. Only then can it start to truly experience. But as humans, we find those experiences very difficult because we like comfort zones. We like staying in a state of our lives where things are safe, where we are protected, where we can project, imagine, plan what is going to happen tomorrow. And then we do that, and then we have a different outcome. And we go, oh, I don't know what's going on with me. My life is such a mess. Oh, baby, it's only because you don't have legs anymore. You've got wings. Your life's not a mess. It's just different. You just need to realize it. Isn't that crazy? Are you guys connecting dots? Are you learning something? Are you starting to notice something about who you are? About your journey called life up until this point? About the potential of expanding and looking at life differently? Because let me tell you a quick secret. Let me tell you why you're here. Would you like to know why you're actually here? You're here to realize you've got wings. And we need to get you to let go of those 38 pairs of shoes that you've been carrying around. Because you're not going to need them now. We need to get you to realize that you can't eat the leaves anymore. Eating a leaf is impossible because your mouth doesn't function the way it used to. It does not mean your mouth is broken. It means it works differently. When things change in life, the person is not broken. They just work differently. They function differently. There needs to be a new program installed. It's just as well you've got an upgraded piece of computer in front of you, but you're still trying to use software from the 80s. It's not going to give you the results you're looking for. Your hardware has been upgraded, so should your software. Why are we still operating on Windows 3 weeks after my birth? What model are you? My hardware is 57, my software is 26. Yeah. Makes sense? So he here now knows something needs to change. Okay, how many people do you know is going through exactly the same thing? It'll be a shorter time to name those that are not going through it than to name those that are going through it. How many potential clients are out there? I don't know, everyone you meet? Everyone you meet. If a human being is not going through change, you are dead. That's the tough part. If something is not changing, growing, going through a metamorphosis, developing. Now, change and growth is painful. It means you've got to break through something that's existing. It's tough. But if there's no growth, if there's no change, there's death. Humans we don't hibernate. We don't go into a constant state. Your brain, neuron connections inside of your brain, if they go into a constant state, they die. only function when they're stimulated, when they're growing, when they're developing. Our human brains cannot even be stagnant. That's why I giggle. Some people say, no, clear your mind. Don't. If you take someone that works in a factory, their job is to take item, put item there, take item, put item there, take item, put item there, take item, put item, and they do that every year in, year out, year in, year out. There's not enough stimulation for the brain. They literally, physically get dumber. Because the neuron paths in the brain, if they're not used, the brain prunes them. They die. When you were 5, 6 years old, you started to learn how to talk properly and you learned language and everything else. From about 7, 8, 9, 10, you stopped learning new languages. Try and learn a new language now and notice how difficult it is. The reason it's difficult is because that neuron path that your brain used to learn language hasn't been used for a long time. So the brain cut it out. It's been pruned, it's died. It's only when stimulation and growth happens that we are alive. The opposite of it is death. So the reality is, as humans, we will go through change. As humans, we will sometimes struggle with that change and find it challenging. That's reality. It is what it is. It's life. That's why we're here. That's why there's a whole industry developed specifically about that. Cool.